So hello everyone and welcome. Um, my name is Mamadou and I am working at the Customer Success Department at Solargis. So today with my colleague Martha Pelford Oyer, we will be presenting you this webinar that will aim to showcase all features of Prospect and how you can efficiently use Prospect for a successful screening and benchmarking project opportunities. So the webinar today will cover different points that are summarized in this overview here. First of all, I will be making a short introduction about Prospect. I'll aim to show you a short video that is also available in our website that describes more or less about all the features and what you can do with Prospect. And then we will be doing together a live demo training that will help to exactly do a simulation in Prospect so you can spot really the features and also some best cases or use cases that can help you do a proper screening. And then I'm going to show you how you can also leverage our website to access resources and support pages in case you encounter any issue. And then we'll be also discussing about the different subscription plans that we have for Prospect. And finally, at the end of the webinar, there will be a Q&A session where you will be able to have your questions answered. So I would recommend you at any time of the webinar to please use the chat box that's available for you and answer the question. So like that, it will be more easy to go through the questions at the end of the webinar. So Prospect, about Prospect. So I'm going to go ahead and show you a video that is also available in our website. So I'm not sure if the video is really, you are able to hear the sound, but if not, doesn't matter. So you can also see the video is subtitled basically. So you can pretty much see that Prospect is allowing you to do a benchmarking studies using different features and so on. Yeah, you can see that it can allow you to examine and access solar and meteor data parameters, taking into consideration different aspects as terrain shading, the temperature, terrain slope, so on. You also have access to 24 interlayer maps, each of them that summarize the specific parameter of the solar and also a meteor parameter. Prospect is also displaying a resolution in the range of 90 meters up to 4 kilometers, which can allow you to simulate, to have a best resolution and simulate your pre-screening. It also has a different configuration systems ranging from rooftop projects to ground-mounted project that can be used. This is pretty much the interface. We will cover it together during our simulation Prospect, and we'll see exactly how you can exploit all the parameters that are presented here. So as you can see, Prospect helps to, you can have more diagrams, and you can also have hourly and monthly values Prospect for each of those parameters to help you see their evolution progressively. You also have the economic calculator that can help you have the financial aspect of your prospect, such as the OPEX or the LCOE, and even the return over investment of the project you've just simulated. Okay, so that was all. That was all for the short video. I'm going to go back now to the presentation. So as you could have seen during the video, pretty much Prospect is a tool, and very fast tool that you can use to make a prospection studies and have reliable project pre-feasibility studies. The database is accurate. It's the most accurate that you will find in the market, as it's been shown by many studies in the field. And also, Prospect is a global tool because it helps you to access not only solar and meteor resources, but you can also use the PV modeling platform to do the simulation of your project. Then you have, of course, other features such as the analytical data and the comparison that can be used to better understand. So let's go ahead with the live demo training. So today we will be simulating a site that is in South Africa called Burnley, in the area of Burnley. And then for our simulation, we'll be using a configuration that are presented here. We will simulate a project with 2 megawatt capacity using a PV structure of ground-based fixed mounted. And for the azimuth and tilt, regarding to the GTI, we will be using 180 as azimuth and 25 as tilt with a yearly soiling of 3%. So what I'm going to go ahead and copy the coordinates here, latitude and longitude, and then I'm going to go ahead and just paste it here. So as soon as I paste it here, it will immediately lead me to the site, which is here. So when you are in Prospect, you can either use the coordinate, which are the latitude and the longitude, or you can simply put the name as well. That can work. In our case, I use the latitude and longitude, and then I'm going to go ahead and save it. So after I save the project, I can either open it here, or I can go here at the project session to open the project. So I will go ahead and click open. As soon as you click open, you'll see that immediately you already have some evolution of the meteor and solar data parameters. For example, we have for that specific site a yearly GHI of 2,255 kilowatt per meter square, and we also have the DNI, yearly DNI average, and also same goes for the diffuse, and also the temperature. And when you scroll a bit down, you'll see here a recapitulative of the project information, and then right under you'll see the evolution of the solar and meteor data parameters. And of course, you also have a glossary that can help you understand the meaning of each of these parameters. So from this stage, what you can do is to simply follow the tool. It's very self-explanatory. That's why in case you don't know what to do next, you can simply follow the guide. So we'll just go ahead and click next. If you click next, then you will be directed into this stage here. And at this stage, you can basically see that, again, a project summary is presented in here. And then you are also able to modify the horizon. So in our case, if we click, for example, modify horizon, you'll see that this is our tenant horizon for this location is quite okay, because it won't really generate any shading effects to the radiation coming from the sun, hence shouldn't really play a big effect on harvesting the sun outside. So we will just keep it. We will not modify it here. Then at this stage, you can also click next. Once you click next at this, it will ask you to choose a configuration system, because you could also recall that there is the panel here that will show you at which stage of the simulation you are, or your prospection you are exactly. You can see for the PV electricity and PV performance as well as finance, we can't really access the data simply because we don't have a configuration yet. So that means to be able to unlock these features here, you need to add a PV configuration. So I'm going to go ahead and add PV configuration, or click next. So I'm going to add PV configuration. And we agreed that we will be simulating a ground fixed mounted. So we will go ahead and choose the ground fixed mounted. However, you can see that Prospect is is allowing you to access different structures. For example, you can simulate a rooftop or even a large rooftop, or you can also, for the CNI, you can more also have the ground fixed, base fixed mounted, or even the tracker with one axis. And you can also simulate the floating PV as well. So you've selected the ground base fixed mounted. We'll just click next. And before we click next, you see also a quick summary in here. So the parameters that are showed in the PV simulation here are the parameters per default. And I'm going to show you how you can readjust these parameters. For as soon as I click next, it's going to recapitulate the same information with the default parameters. At this stage here, you need to just click on edit PV configuration, and then you'll be able to edit each of these parameters. Of course, you can expand the window, and you can also collapse it. So we agreed to do a simulation of a PV plant of 2 megawatts. Here, I just perhaps want to explain that you can either use the install capacity or simply the area of PV module. It's same, because if you input one or the other, it will automatically calculate the other corresponding parameters. And then for the module type, we'll use the generic silicon, crystalline silicon. And for the performance degradation rate, we will exclude it from our simulation. For the GTI, we agreed to use an azimuth of 180 and a tilt of 25. You can also set it to the optimum. And then for the relative row spacing, we can keep it at 2.5. This is a very important parameter to set up to make sure that we are preventing from generating shadings between the panels. And you can see how the relative row spacing, is calculated. For the inverter, we're going to use the centralized high efficiency, and the same for the transformer high efficiency we'll be using. And then for the soiling losses, we agreed that we will input a yearly value of 3%. Of course, these are parameters that you can play with. And then for the cabling DC, so we will go ahead and have set the default values. So in Prospect, a ratio of 1.2 values is used in the simulations. And the system availability, we can keep it at 99.5. So as soon as we input all these parameters, it's 1995. I see that there is something in the yield. Yes, so there was an issue here. It should be 25. That's why it couldn't allow us to save. And then once you finish the inputs, you click save and calculate. And then it will show now the new configuration you have with the parameters you've inputted here. And then you can click next. As soon as you click next, you'll see in few seconds, the system already generated the data. So Prospect is a really fast tool. And then you can see our yearly GHI value is 2,255 kilowatt per meter square, and the yearly average temperature of 18.6. You can also have, you see that we were able to unlock the parameter, the solar and the meteor values. And this is a very important table, I would say, if it's not even the most important table in the Prospect simulation, because you see it shows you the monthly evolution of each of these parameters, so the solar and meteor parameters. Again, to perhaps emphasize and clarify the fact that in Prospect, you are generating monthly values. So from January to December, that's why you are starting with this table here. You can also scroll down. If you scroll down, you are able to see the evolution curve of each of these parameters. For example, the temperature, this is the evolution of the temperatures throughout the years. Same for the wind speed, and you can also have the albedo. You can have the relative humidity, precipitable water, precipitation, and the precipitable water, and so on. And you also have a glossary here. So when you click next, you will be able to access the hourly profile. So to explain, Prospect is providing the long-term average value, not monthly average value. Meaning, as I showed previously, you have the evolution, the average value on a monthly basis from January to February. However, we were able to derive the hourly profile from the monthly values. And this is very important because it can help you to really focus on a specific month and to see how that parameter is evolving. For example, if I take the example of, if I take January, you see that we have the evolution curves for the GHI, DNI, and the diff, and the diffuse irrigation. So this can help you to better understand, and you also have the profile on an hourly basis. Yeah. So this can help to have a more specific studies rather than just having a long-term monthly averages. Sorry. And then when you scroll a bit down, you see also the repartition of the GHI, DNI, and also the temperatures on each of these months. So as I was showing, this is the drill down hourly profile. So you have for each profile, you have the hourly evolution. And then when you click next, you can see that it switched between the sections here. We are now at the PV electricity section, and we have our yearly average output. Specific power output will be 1,277.5 kilowatt hour, with the total photovoltaic power output yearly average of 2,555. And when you scroll a bit down, you'll see the monthly evolutions of the PV electrical potential. So the GTI evolution, this is the sum. This is summing the monthly values, of course. The yearly will sum the monthly values. You have the PV out as well, the performance ratio in our case of the simulation. So you could, for example, see that in this case, we are having a performance ratio of 76.8%, which means we are having something like 25.2% loss, which is quite considerable. So we can see later in the diagram of losses how what is mostly driving this huge amount of loss into our PV system or PV plant. Then once you click next, you'll also have again the same as we had for the solar and meteor. We'll have the hourly profile for the PV electricity. So you'll see pretty much like what will be the PV specific evolutions, PV out specific evolutions, output evolutions on a monthly basis, on an hourly basis as well for each specific month. So meaning from January to December. And then when you scroll down again, you'll have the same table as before, but mostly represented by the power output. And then here you are able to see the specific hours and months where you have high production, electricity production, or where you also have low electricity production. And then you click next. When you click next here, you'll be able to also access the performance, everything related to the performance of your PV system. As we have seen before, the performance ratio in our case is 76.8, and you have the breakdown of the energy conversion and related losses, which is very important because you see this is really a drill down on how each of these parameters is evolving for our simulation. You can also see that for the performance ratio, you can see the evolution. So all the parameters, the special conversion, the conversion of the solar radiation to this in the model. So this is more on advanced simulation, I would say. And then you can also see the losses due to snow. So you can see the energy losses here. Or again, and you can see also energy loss. Obviously, the snow will be zero for this given the site geography location. And this is the loss diagram that I was showing you earlier. This diagram is very important because you can see that it makes a comparison on our current performance ratio to 100%, and you can see basically the gap is everything we are losing, and you have a drill down of each of this evolution. So you see, in case of the soiling loss, we initially inputted 3%, so which means we knew that we will have a 3% losses that is caused by the soiling. And then you see we also have some other electrical losses that are caused in case of the angular reflectivity is quite high and it's leading to 6.3% losses. And then you have the conversion of the solar radiation to DC in the modules is also very high. So pretty much those are the two big main drivers of the current, of the fact that we are losing above 22% loss. So this can be used to better understand. Of course, just to explain, this is just a prospection phase, so which means you are really looking to see what is the ideal site where you will maximize having your electricity production from the solar conversion, right? So at this stage, being able to also do these estimations at this advanced level only at the prospection phase, it's really considerable, which is one of the which is also one of the main, or I would say, strongest point for prospect. And you also have access to a glossary here that is very extensive, so it helps explain the definition of each of these parameters. Once you click next, then you'll have the evolution of the specific photovoltaic power output. So monthly lifetime, yearly average, I would say. And then you'll see if you consider 25 years a project, this will be the evolution of your performance ratio throughout the time, and also the electricity you will be generated. Same also for the degradation rate, it is also simulated here. You can also have the curve of the evolution for the performance ratio, and same for the PV output specific PV output, sorry. And then when you click next, you will access the finances. So in Prospect, we have the finance part, the economic calculator or finances, which can be used to do the financial simulation. So when you do a simulation, and for each site, you will already have the RNI, for example, or the AR equity being provided, and even the leverage cost of electricity will be provided for your simulation. So you can see in our case, we'll have RNI of 11.7% on the long term, which is not bad at all. And then you can see everything that's related to the operational costs and also the revenue generated for each year. And if you want to go more deeper in your simulation, you can use the input paths here, where you are able to use to input the values. So you'll be able to feed in the PPA, and you can also put everything related to the installation cost, and then calculate your equity, your AR equity. But of course, this means you'll have a much breakdown, much detailed information of what's going to be the cost of the operational power plant and so on, which in most of the case you might have once you, perhaps not for the specific site, but if the project is already commissioned, so it was just to show you how you can also use the finance part. So what we have seen so far is just everything related to the project, and also the PV configuration, and how you can also access the solar and the meteo parameter, and what your simulation is going to produce in terms of electricity. And now we will be seeing how you can access the data. So you just need to click next, and it's going to lead you there. So at this stage here, we'll be generating a report that will summarize everything we've seen previously. You can generate the report via PDF or XLS format. That's up to you. I'm going to generate it via PDF just to show you. And you also have different languages in which you can generate the report. So I'll go ahead and keep English. And I will also include the financial report, and I click generate. Now here is going to take a bit of time. And meantime, what we can do is to just click next and then download the data. And here, when you click data here, and you can see even we are mentioning here that these are the monthly average data in CSV format that you can directly import in PVCs. We are planning to do more trainings on how you can also use SolarGIS data to import them in PVCs, but we will not be covering that in this webinar. So when I click open, you'll see that this is a CSV file that shows the long-term monthly averages of the solar and meteor data. And it's going to summarize everything we've done together. So the site name is going to show the latitude, the longitude, and the slope. And it's going to show you also the evolution of each of these parameters. And you can see that here you only have 12 data points because Prospect is generating the monthly values, right? And this is the file that you can directly save and input into PVCs if you are using PVCs, for example, and do your advanced simulations. Now, we're going to go back and then go to report because remember we were generating our report. So I'm going to go ahead and download the report. And when you download the report, you'll have a PDF report that's nicely presented, summarizing everything about the project. And you can also, you have a table of content and you can have the overview, the project info, the location, the site. And so basically it summarizes everything that was showing us data. The specific profiles for the solar and meteor data, and also you can have the hourly values as well. So this is typically a report that you can share with your colleagues or stakeholders when working together in a project, and you won't need to do a summary or nothing. You simply need to share with them the report here. Okay. Now, so that was pretty much about Prospect. And what I want to show you is that, of course, how you can navigate through the interface. Now, if you go to projects and you see I've simulated many projects, so I'm going to increase here the item per page. So this is the project we've simulated together. You can see the date, for example, right? And you can see, even not just if opening the project, you can see the evolution of the most important parameters, for example. And if you click open here, then you are able to go through each of these parameters. So this is going to stay there, and you can always come back to do the simulation, okay, the project. And one feature of Prospect I wanted to show you is the comparison feature. So we will go ahead and do some examples. I will add project. For example, I can take, I'm going to go ahead and take the project which we simulated. It's the ground-based fixed mounted 1 megawatt. And then we can simulate with another project that were made using the tracker. And when you click add, you are basically, you see that you can, okay, looks like we didn't select. So I'm gonna go ahead and add. Okay, I'm gonna simulate this to add, yes. And now it shows us the evolution. It's comparing like project by project and data parameter by parameters. And if you click next, you are also able to see the site. And then here is also important because here you can simulate the GHI profile, for example, for each of these projects. And you can also simulate the temperature, compare the temperature, and you can also compare the precipitable water evolution. So you see in case of the site at Kong, looks like we have a huge amount of precipitable water, that can be precipitated compared to the site which we did in Brandley. Yeah, so this is also something that you can use to do comparisons in Prospect. And then I'll just go back to the map. So if you go to the map specifically, this is the site we see. Here I just wanted to show you that you can also, you can also play with the map, right? Rather than doing a simulation, you can just use the map to have like some estimations. For example, I'm gonna go somewhere, for example, here, sorry, you know, you can just do some clicks and see how is the GTI is gonna change progressively. If you just do a click, you will see the PV out. And you can also select the GSI and so on. And what I also forget to show you is that, I mean, we did see it together at the video in the beginning, but I'm just going to show it to you in the map. So Prospect, so far the map we have here is the GSI map, but when you click on the maps, you can see that Prospect is allowing you to have 24 interlive maps that you can use for your simulation. Each of these maps is representing one specific parameter of solar or meteor, and you can choose two. For example, we can use the surface albedo map, and then you're going to see the repetition of the albedo value throughout the map. Okay, and even if you just do some click prospections rather than going, for example, to the deep simulations, you can also use these maps, each of these maps, to understand. But if you would want to understand what will be the effect of the precipitable water, since it can also have some effect in the electrical productivity of your PV plant, you can also use the precipitable water and see the evolution. And then like this, you can also see if you are looking to do on a simulation in a specific site, you can see if this is really, yeah, what's going to be the evolution of that parameters then, and somehow anticipate. Okay. So that was all about Prospect I wanted to share with you today. Now I'm going to go back to the presentation, and again, keep using the chat to input any questions if you have, and then we will cover it right after. So in our website, which is solargis.com, you can access to our data, our support documentations, where you can also access the product guide, the release notes, or just subscribe to our blog so that we keep you informed on any updates we have. So these are very interesting and important documentations that I strongly recommend you to reach out to and check whenever you are having an issue, or when you have new colleagues, for example, joining the team and starting to do prospection using Prospect, or simply new users. You can refer them to these help guides here to help them better understand the tool. And of course, we are constantly we are available for support. You just need to call us at this number or contact us via contact@solargis.com. All these informations are available in our webpage, and then we will be supporting you. Regarding the subscription plans, so as you know, for Prospect, there are two types of plan. We have the basic and the professional plan. The difference is simply the difference is related to the parameters that you can have access to, and also not only solar and meteor, but also during the simulation. As you previously seen, you can do simulation using ground-mounted peaks, or you can even simulate a PV or one-axis tracker. In case of the professional plant, you can do all of it, which means you have everything included in basic, plus the albedo data, which is very important, because as you know, the albedo can be used for bifacial estimation gains. And you also have additional parameters such as the precipitable water, the relative humidity, and the snow data. These are very important informations that can help that can have an impact into the electrical production. And you can also do the simulation with one axis tracker or just a floating PV. Now I can also go to our website, so you can see when you click in the website, you see that we even show the differences in there. And when you want to compare the plan, then you can go more specifically on the data aggregation, the parameters, and all the features included to see that the what differentiate the basic and the professional plan. We do also provide a 2 weeks free trial period, so you can go ahead and register to follow the process. Register for 2 weeks trial period. You'll have the possibility to do a simulation for one project and learn more and more. And then during the free trial project, you can also get back to us if you have questions or so on. So that was it. Now